And welcome to Ham Nation number 619. Tonight is Ladies' Night. That's why I'm here by myself. I'm not really here by myself, but thanks everyone for tuning in. I've got quite the show tonight, and I've got some amazing ladies that I want y'all to meet, and some of them you probably already know, and some I want you to get to know. So, Josh, let's introduce our ladies. Josh is here too, but he's off the show tonight. So you won't be hearing much from him. So raise your hand when I say your name. Shannon Gibney is here, KC1OHT. We got Virginia, NV5F, Ruth, KM4LAO, Violetta, KN2P, Rushira, KE2GHV, Harini, KE2GJF, and Abby Kimi, KK7CFJ. Oh, I'm already exhausted. Okay. Well, anyhow, I tried to put this together several times over, and there's some ladies missing here that we would like to also see. Karen Eve Murray couldn't make it tonight, and Dr. T is not going to be here live, but don't worry. She did make a video recording for us to check out what the sun is doing. So let's meet some of our ladies. Tonight is going to be like way different layout and format than we typically do. So we're just going to have some interviews with all of our gals here, and they're all going to tell you what they do in amateur radio. And then we're just going to have like a lot of open discussion. So kind of just going to go down my list the way I have it now. And Shannon, who was here just 2 weeks ago, is back to give us an update on how the YL POTA day went and also what she's been doing this week. So Shannon, KC1OHT, how you doing, hun?
Yeah, hey Amanda, hey everybody in chat. I am doing excellent. I'm having an amazing ham radio week. Of course, Sunday was International Women's Day YL POTA party. Here in the Northeast, we had the most amazing weather we have had for the past 3 years. It was something like 65 degrees and fairly sunny out. So I was able to get out there in the park with my friend Kelly K1SOE. We did some operating on 10 meters, 12 meters, and 17 meters. And we made like 48 contacts, I think, in maybe around 3 hours worth of operating, which is a slow day for me in the park. But it was also the big DX contest. So the bands were really packed, and it was a little hard to you get people to like pay attention to POTA because they wanted the contest. But
I hear you. That's when you go to the work bands.
That's why we did so much 12 and 17. And luckily, you know, the bands were cooperating. They were open. So, you know, we got out there. We had fun. I heard from a group of 4 young lady ham radio operators in Tokyo that they had gone out and they did some POTA activating around Japan. And we had a few YLs in, I think it was Pennsylvania. They had like 10 people all together. I think 8 of them were young ladies. So they had a big turnout for their event. So it was very successful, very exciting. And then, of course, leading into the YLWWA, everybody is still on the air for that. And that's
it's been a crazy week. I looked at the spotting network and I saw so many women on there. So you've been active in it, like, right? You've been making hundreds of contacts.
Yeah, I have I think like 250 something contacts. 237 contacts with probably something like 27 countries if I had to take a guess. I saw yesterday I made what was it, 84 contacts with 24 countries. Monday I made 104 contacts with 20 countries, and that was operating for around like 2 to 3 hours just on POTA. So 100 watts into the 17-foot vertical whip on the mag mount on top of the Subaru. So
nice.
Can't beat that.
So Josh has a website for us to go to so we can check out kind of the activity level. I was a little disappointed because I'm seeing that Germany has more
you scroll down, you can
Oh, no.
oh, oh, no. If you scroll down okay. Yeah, so if you scroll down, you can see the top countries. So yeah, the Republic of Germany is still the top country with 13,667 QSOs. The United States 12,363 QSOs. So and then it goes down from there. All the different countries that have activators in the event. So and I kind of love those stats.
I
Like
do
that
too.
like yesterday, I compared, and when you log right on Ham Award, it actually will tell you like, oh, you had 14% less QSOs than the day before. So I was like, well, I had 14% less QSOs, but I had 20% more countries, so that makes up for it, right?
Right.
I sound like a baseball stats person, but I'm a ham radio stats person.
It's a big deal. Well, thanks for sharing that. And now I've got to get active. You've really lit a fire under me because it's almost like during bobsled, the Germans just kick butt in the Olympics, right? So we gotta pick up our game a little bit. So I'm gonna help out where I can. Well, Shannon, what else is going on with you? What's after this week for you? What's in the future?
Oh my gosh. Well, definitely, looking forward to Hamvention. That's probably coming up way sooner than what we even think, right? We're going to blink and that's going to be
Yes.
here. So I went last year for the first time ever. I'm going to be there again this year. So I'm really looking forward to that, meeting everybody and hanging out with friends. And after that, it's going to be basically getting ready for this extended trip to England that I'm going to be taking, which is going to be like another ham radio vacation. Going to bring my G90 with me and probably the Wolf River Coil and hopefully do a lot of parks on the air activations, maybe like a bunkers on the air activation. Who
Oh,
knows?
they're popular over there.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there's castles on the air, there's bunkers on the
yes.
air, there is everything on the air.
Well, don't forget your YouTube streaming so we can all check out what you're doing.
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
thank you, Shannon, for the update. We appreciate that. And I'm gonna go down to who's next on my list. Virginia, who also was also here not too
Hello.
long again. Virginia, tell us about yourself. What's going on?
Okay, well, I have been a ham radio operator since 1998, and I've done a little bit of everything. Right now, the main thing I'm focused on, believe it or not, after all this time, I started pretty heavy duty into HF and CW and DX, and I love all that stuff. But in the last couple years, I've been sticking close to home. I'm actually a net control on one of the repeaters here. The Dallas Amateur Radio Club has a big night of nets every Saturday night, and about once a month I run the astronomy net. We've got a net that's a lot of nerds get on there, and we talk about space and stars and constellations and space travel news and stuff. And actually, this week is my week. I have to do a presentation every time I'm running the net. So I've got to do a presentation on relativity uh, this time. But that's one of the things I'm focused on. I'm enjoying
You've
that
lost
club.
me.
I was actually at a local ham fest over the weekend on Saturday, and for the first time ever, I ran a table. I sold things. I've been in ham radio so long, I actually have things to sell. So I had a table full of things I was selling, and I got to visit with everybody, and it was a neat perspective. I've never actually just sat at a table and sold stuff.
Really?
Um, yeah, so it's kind of fun, and I also advertised my QSL card business
Mhm.
and got a few people to pick up my business card. That was what I talked about last time I was on
That's
here,
right.
was
It's
my
her beautiful
QSL art.
designs. Yes.
And I ever since then, I was on here, I guess, about a month ago, and I've had a couple of inquiries, and I've got one job started from that and another one pending, and welcome any and all who would love a beautiful custom designed QSL card. I've done AMSAT. I've built a CubeSat simulator. I love CW. I work CW every field day with my local club. And I would love to get back into DX. I haven't been into it for a while, but I really have always enjoyed it. And I've got a neat tower and a big antenna up there. And I've got a nice station. It's just been mostly local stuff the last few years, just running nets and gotten into CERT and trying to just get better at comms in general. So
Sure.
that's kind of where I am right now currently.
Well, and if I had to label somebody our smoke and solder gal on here tonight, it would be you.
I have built a lot of things.
Yes.
It's probably not easy to see from here, but my Bob Heil pine board project is up on top of my radio desk back there. So I have built a lot of things.
Well, we appreciate you being on here tonight. And of course, stick around. And somebody had the question, QSL card business. And yes, Virginia designs beautiful cards. It's all hand illustrated. And go to her QRZ page and you can see more about her designs, and it will lead to our website. Or if you want to just shout out your website, Ginny.
Yeah, it's sparksqsl.com. So SPARKSQSL.com.
Fantastic. All right, who do we have next? We've got Ruth, KM4 LAO. Now, I know Ruth is involved highly with youth getting on the air, and you take it away, Ruth. You tell us what you do in amateur radio.
Absolutely. Good to be back on Him Nation. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm Ruth, KM4 LAO. I'm a PhD student in acoustics at Penn State, and I've been into ham radio since 2015. I got licensed because I wanted to do Morse code and then never looked back. And really have had a lot of fun. I love just kind of bouncing between different things in the hobby, depending on what time I have. I think my longest running passions are definitely HF, doing single sideband or CW, and satellite operations, especially because of how portable that is. I can do that on the go, as well as a lot of ARIS stuff. I've been involved with Sub Telebridge contacts and direct contacts now. But yeah, do a lot of youth on the air related activities. I got involved with that back during the first camp as a camper, and then I came back on working group, and I'm now our assistant director. So we've got applications open for this upcoming year, where it's going to be in Huntsville this summer. The applications are open through middle
And Josh
of April.
has that website. He could pull that up. Yes.
So definitely, really passionate about getting young people active in the hobby, helping pass on our knowledge and also learn from them, because there's so many cool stuff that everybody does that I don't have time to do myself. So I love getting there, helping with activities at camp, and seeing what everybody else is doing, get inspiration from that.
And what's the age group for the camp again? I can never remember.
15 to 25. 15 to 25. Yeah.
Okay. And we have some other campers on here tonight as well.
Yes.
I have a quick question for you. So how did you get involved with ARIS group? Did you just say I'm interested, or how does that work?
So I started attending some ARIS contacts back when I was living outside of Atlanta. The North Fulton Amateur Radio Club has several folks that help our mentors for that. So I got to go to some contacts. Sorry, my cat heard me talking.
Oh, of course.
So I started going to contacts, and then once we got Yoda up and running, I was able to get involved and get a contact approved, and have been able to help out with that because of doing it through Yoda. So mostly kind of got the connections going there because we were doing it for Yoda, and then I've stayed involved and been able to help out with the anniversary convention and other stuff. So,
well, that's fantastic. Anything else you want the viewers to know about you?
I'm also, I just love doing stuff in radio, both on and off the air. So I'm here at Penn State, so I'm president for our school club, which is a lot of fun.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah, really helping to repair our club station and kind of get it up and running for the next crop of students, which has been fun. So yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And it was nice seeing you this last summer as well. You guys are working hard during the Yoda camp. That was a crazy day. Their opening day.
Yes.
expert tip, everybody, don't ever go visit them on opening day. It's just like Violetta's probably shaking her head in the background going, it's like crazy. So, and Abby Kimi is probably doing the same thing. So anyhow, all right, well, stick around. Let's go to one of those camp goers and who has gone above and beyond that from there. Violetta, KN2P, how are you tonight, hun?
Yeah, good evening. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Of course. I think I made her skip
this
school.
Last year was the don't tell my professor. This last year was my first time at YOTA camp. It was held here in Colorado, which is where I'm living currently, so it was very easy to attend. A lot of fun. I mean, a full week of just activities and presentations, opportunities to get on the air. We did parks on the air, summits on the air, talked to the space station, and made a lot of really good friends and great connections that week. So I highly recommend that to all young people to apply for that in the future, because it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very affordable too. So you've gone really out and found your own style in amateur radio. And you've just turned into a DX queen. And I love this story about you. So just tell us kind of what your adventures have been in the last year and what your plans are coming forward.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride for sure. And there's so much more coming. So I'm super excited. Really the first kind of DX trip I was on was through the Dave Coulter Memorial Youth DX Adventure. I believe it's like an application and maybe an essay submission. And they send a couple kids every year to some DX location. So that was kind of my first opportunity back in 2018 to operate outside the US. And that really kind of sparked my love for traveling and doing ham radio while traveling. And kind of just expanded from there. My first big DX expedition was in October of 2025 to the North Cook Islands. And talk about a crazy trip. I mean, pretty much everything unexpected happened that could possibly happen. We had one of our power strips caught on fire. We had a loss of power the first day, and ultimately ended up the generator for the whole island caught on fire about 5 or 6 days into us being on the air, which unfortunately we had to go QRT early because of that. It was just one thing after another, but overall, really great trip. I think we made about 20,000 contacts. Yeah, just a great location. Got to make new friends and really just see kind of the behind the scenes of how all the planning and actually getting there, setting up a station from scratch really looks like. So in the future, here at the end of the month, I'll be going to Honduras to the HQ9X station. We'll be operating for the WPX sideband contest, so I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be my first time in a contest doing multi-single. I've done multi-2, multi-multi, some single op, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And then later on in the year, I'm part of the team going to Tokelo in November. And then the really big one that I'm very excited about is the VP0 trip to South Georgia in 2027. So that's still a ways out. A lot of planning that goes into that. But I've been working with a really, really great team of people. Yeah, I'm just super excited for that trip. It's we meet in London, take a Royal Air Force flight to the Falkland Islands, and then it's about 5 or 6 days on a chartered boat to reach the island. So it'll be quite the adventure.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a lot of dedication into your DXpedition there. Well, fantastic. Now, the biggest DXpedition of the year is on right now, Bouvet. And as I said, I was going to ask you the helpful hint. How can you tell our viewers how they can get through those pileups? You've been on the other side. How do you pick people out to put them in the logs?
It's really hard to give just like a straightforward method. This is how to get in the log every time. Because every operator running the pileup has their own kind of personal techniques for running pileups. My biggest advice is just listen to what the operator's doing. Listen to kind of his patterns. If he's picking out prefixes and replying to prefixes, you want to make sure you get your prefix out there. If he's doing full call signs, it's a different story. Some people try to listen, like I try to listen to multiple call signs at once, even if I don't get the full call sign. So I'll work the first guy and then, be like, okay, the Kilo 2 station. So it really just depends on the operator. There's all kind of techniques for both, trying to break through the pileup and for working pileups. And like I said, I think having a female voice is gives us a little bit of an advantage. But yeah.
Certainly. Well, anything else you want the viewers to know about what you're doing?
Let's see. One of the new things I've kind of been trying is going aeronautical mobile, taking just a little handheld so far, trying to kind of expand that and figure out how I can possibly get on HF, although all the aircraft that I fly are rented, so it's hard to kind of like install any equipment in them. So far it's just been local contacts. I've talked to some people in my local radio club, talked to some new people just on 2 meters flying over town, so that's been a lot of fun.
Well, fantastic. Thanks for being here tonight, and stick around. We got a lot more. We're going to break with you, and we're going to go to Harini, KE2DJF, and Rushira, KE2GHV. These ladies have a very unique backstory and what they do for the hobby. And so, Rushira, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thanks for being here tonight, and you can tell us what you guys have been doing in amateur radio.
Okay, thank you for having me. So in terms of what I do in ham radio, I'm a recent licensee, so I often use like my ham radio to talk to my friends, but my biggest passion is expanding its use and using it as a tool to inspire the other youth of our generation. So I work with the Alliance for Indigenous Math Circles, which is an organization with the goal of providing STEM opportunities to Indigenous youth through math circle problems and STEM activities at an annual math camp. It's hosted in the summer. I was just there last year. And so basically, rural and tribal communities are very underrepresented in STEM, and they face a lot of systemic barriers, including culturally disconnected curricula in school and limited mentorship and a lack of community-centered learning spaces, and a lot of traditional instructional models and schools like fail to recognize their knowledge systems and lived experiences. So, since Indigenous youth are our current mathematicians, we wanted to strengthen their mathematical problem solving skills and critical thinking. So, the Alliance for Indigenous Math Circles has been hosting summer residential camps in New Mexico and California for over 10 years. And the program is grounded in cultural integration with a lot of Indigenous traditions, language, and community values embedded in daily instruction. Last year, we had a speaker talk about astronomy in relation to Indigenous traditions. And campers also work in groups emphasizing reasoning over speed. And where ham radio comes in with this is with the Radio Weaves project, which we started, which uplifts the mathematical importance of Indigenous military contributions by using like native languages in communication. So we have students participate in learning to become ham radio operators, and that instills pride in their culture with the Navajo code talkers, and that shows them pathways for STEM careers. So at our last camp, 13 out of the 15 kids who attended were able to earn their technician license, and we're really proud of all of the kids who attended.
I'm blown away right now. So this is an amazing project that you all are doing. And if you don't mind, you keep saying we. So how many are involved in working with these students?
So there's about 10 other kids who are my age working as interns at the camp. And then there's quite a few professors who do the actual teaching. And there's Harney, who is the main instructor for the radio program.
Harini is amazing, everybody. She didn't want to talk tonight too much, but she was on their show. I can't even remember, at least 9 or 10 months ago, but we had promised we would have her back. And I'd like to thank you for all that you do. Is there a website or a place where we could go see what all you guys do?
Yes, there's the AMC official website. So I will pull up the link and I can.
Oh, perfect. You can stick it in chat and Josh will pull it up for us. So there's, and by the way, Rushira, you're definitely a perfect candidate for the Yoda camp or any of your teammates as well. So be sure to check that out. And I'm just going to put it out there. Ruth can verify this, but I think it's only like $100 for the whole week. Very affordable for the students. So, okay. And Josh got that link and we'll just pull that up real quick. Like, this is just an amazing project that you guys have taken on for sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
And Harini, what university are you a part of?
I'm not part of a university. I'm just an educator.
Oh, just an educator. Okay, I thought it was from a college. Okay, my apologies. Okay,
No,
go
but we did licensed students from San Juan College in Farmington, New Mexico, and we also last year I think we licensed about 24 students around the country.
Wow.
As well.
Fantastic. All right, Josh, you pull up that website and we'll just check it out real quick. Like,
so
and you said in New Mexico and California, basically. So you do all of this remotely then? Okay. Because with your 2 calls, I'm guessing you're both on the, is it New Jersey you're from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But the summer camp is in person. So we
okay.
go to New Mexico and California. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing your story. I think it's amazing. And we might need to get out some time where we can have some of your students on that have gotten licensed and they can tell us about some of their experiences and what they've gotten out of amateur radio and how it's helped them further their ambitions and their STEM careers there. So
that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, you two stick around. We got more of the show. We have one more guest we're going to get introed here. We have Abby Kimi, KK7CFJ. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing well. It's nice to see you all.
Yeah, it's super fantastic that you're here. Now, when I was looking you up, you've gotten like quite a few scholarships. Tell us how you got into amateur radio and where it's taken you so far.
Yes, so I originally was part of Civil Air Patrol, which is the U.S. Air Force Auxiliary, and we do a lot in emergency communications. I really love that. They offered a class to get your ham radio license, and so I applied, passed, and started getting involved, heard about Youth on the Air through that, and applied, attended as a camper, and now I help out with the registration side of things.
That's fantastic. So I guess I didn't meet you in Denver this last year, but I know you were there. So tell me about some of the scholarships that you got and things like that.
Yeah, so I have written an essay for the D-Expedition, I believe. I'm blanking on the name already, but I got an Icom 7300. I think it was the Dream Rig essay contest, and I attended the camp, the Youth on the Air camp in 2021, and haven't been able to go back since, but just because of work and life stuff, but it's been great.
And what all do you do in the hobby? Are you like satellites, phone, what?
Yes. So I live in DC currently. I work as an assistant. And so due to space restrictions, I wasn't able to bring my radios. But when I'm back in Arizona, I enjoy HF on 40 meters. And then I like listening to the ISS repeater. That's a fun hobby of mine. And then here in DC, just because it's a little difficult, I am part of the NIH, the National Institute of Health Amateur Radio Club. And so I like to get involved that way and just help with Youth on the Air stuff on the administrative side.
Fantastic. Well, that's I've never heard of the NIH Amateur Radio Club. So is it a big group?
I would say it's about 6 to 10 people. We meet once a month. It's lately the weather has been terrible, so we haven't been able to meet in person. Every time it's either snowing or raining, but it's a good group of people. I'm seeing a couple of them this Sunday. I'll be going to the Winterfest in Virginia, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and there's so many opportunities. It's too bad you couldn't take more radio stuff because I think there's like a lot of opportunities for POTAs around there, isn't there?
There are quite a few members do, and it's just been a crazy, crazy year so far. But I hope to join them sometime soon, and I hope to get an alpha antenna loop. So hopefully, the next time I go back to Arizona, I'll try and bring up one of my radios. It's crazy in DC with everything that's going on. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even imagine trying to find a place to live in DC. I heard it's pretty crowded there. So anyhow, well, Abby, anything else you want our viewers to know about what you do? What your next plans are in amateur radio?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to join and excited to continue in this hobby. I guess my recent project, it's easy to learn CW online. And so I've been working on that. I'm not confident enough to get on the air yet, but that's what I do in my free time. And during work, I like to listen to it. But yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, you said you're a part of Civil Air Patrol. Do you have a pilot's license?
I do. I have the private pilot certificate, so the lowest level, but I enjoy flying in the area. I mainly am a mission radio operator for Civil Air Patrol and have been able to join one of the missions where we fly over DC and pretend to be a target and break airspace rules and see all the warning signs and get contacted by by the military. So that's fun. That's fun. But,
yeah, definitely. Well, I can't believe we have a show with 2 pilots on it. That's crazy. Put that on my bingo card for some time. Anyhow, well, thanks, Abby, for being here. Abby Kimi for being here tonight, and everyone stick around. We're going to go to an ad from Icom. Give everyone a little bit of break.
Stick around any ham radio conversation, and Icom is bound to come up. The reason is straightforward: solid receivers, clear audio, and a layout that feels natural the second you start operating. These radios are made for real on the air time, whether the bands are calm, crowded, or somewhere in between. When the gear stays out of your way and the contacts keep coming, you know you're in good company. Choose Icom. Remote ready, contest capable, and built for serious signal. Step into the future of amateur radio with Icom's powerhouse trio: the IC7760 HF 50 MHz digital transceiver, the IC-PW2 1kW HF 50 MHz linear amplifier, and the all-new RC7760 remote controller. Designed to work in perfect harmony, this system offers full remote operation, high output performance, and seamless integration across the bands. The RC7760 remote control serves as an extra control head, and up to 5 can be registered to the RF deck, though only 1 can be active at a time. For wireless connectivity, simply connect a commercially available Wi-Fi access point via the LAN port. Whether you're working from the shack, the field, or a remote site, you'll experience crystal clear audio, digital precision, and amplifier-grade power, all from a single unified interface. It's the ideal setup for contesters, MCOM operators, and high-demand users who expect more from their gear. Together, they redefine what's possible in amateur radio, setting a new standard for global connectivity and reliability. The IC7300 MK2 builds upon everything operators loved about the original IC7300, elevating it to a sharper, cleaner, and more capable HF experience. Its improved RMDR, lower phase noise, enhanced cooling, and expanded I/O options make it the next level performer for serious operators who want crystal clear reception, rock-solid transmit quality, and modern conveniences that fit today's operating styles. Also, check out serious performance for serious operators with the IC9700 VHF UHF 1.2 GHz all-mode transceiver. For more information about Icom's great amateur radios, contact icomamerica.com/amateur today.
Listen, I don't have much time. Amanda's going to find out I snuck onto the show. I want to say a huge thank you to Icom for sponsoring Ham Nation here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. We appreciate the support. I'm going to give away 3 swag packs right now. You can only get in on this if you click that Enter Now button in the link in the video description. The winners are Lonnie C, KM7, DRG, Randy K, KE8RB, and Nicole T, KR4DL. You can only enter here, and we only give them away when we're live. I gotta go. She's gonna come over here and take me out. Guys, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Off the stage. My God. You should have had Leah do that. That would have been awesome, by the way.
She's gone.
All right. So
she's not here.
She's not here. All right. She ran away. Okay. So ladies, I don't think many people spilled the beans on what their station is. So we're going to go around the table one more time here. Shannon, what's your go-to station at home that you use, or your mobile, whichever?
Well, my go-to station at home is a FTDX10 with a long wire antenna, with an MFJ tuner. And my mobile station is my FT710 with the 17-foot whip.
Nice. Okay. Virginia, how about you?
Well, I'm an Icom girl. I have an IC7300 for HF and an IC9700 for the 2 meter 440 and higher frequencies. I have fully intended to get the 9700 working on satellite. That's all a matter of getting the outdoor antenna stuff set up. And as far as on the go, I have recently built a Go box that has an IC7000 in it. So that kind of goes with all my other radios. So those are my favorites.
It most certainly does. Well, nice setups there. Where am I at? Violetta, what do you use?
Yeah, my dad's a diehard Kenwood fan, so I hope he's not listening to this. My home station, I have a Yaesu FT950, but I'm mostly just active on 2 meters, just with a little handheld. So nothing crazy right now, but hopefully when I'm in a more permanent place, I can have a better station. That's the goal.
Heck yeah. Okay, Miss Ruth, how about you?
Yeah, currently I'm mostly portable just because I'm living in an apartment. So I mostly use my Yaesu 817 NDs for portable QRP stuff.
Okay. And Harina and Rushira, how about you? Rushira, you said you have a handheld for sure. So what do you use?
I think it's a Yaesu.
Let's see. Hold it up a little higher.
Not.
I can't see it because I have buttons in the way. Josh, can you see? No? Anyone?
That is a TYT?
Maybe
or,
it's TYT.
No, or is it a Yaesu? What does it say on the back or on the side? Baofeng UV.
Oh, yeah. It's an Explorer.
Oh, yeah, TYT.
Okay. And so, and I don't think Harini talks very much on the radio, which is fine. Who do we got? Abby Kimi, what do you usually use? Well, you're kind of up in arms, but what do you use in Arizona?
In Arizona, I use the Icom 7300 and the Icom 705. And I hope to purchase an alpha antenna this Sunday. So, yeah.
Ooh. Living large. In my station here at home, I use a 7610 with, well, our AL811 is dead, but now we use our backup, which is a Kenwood 922. So it's capable of 1,000 watts, but we only push about 500 because the tubes are really freaking expensive. So, and then when we go camping and do portable stuff, I use my Icom 705, which Jeff, my husband, was fortunate enough to win. So, okay, so those are our station setups. All right, let's get into some fun questions here. All right, nobody brought this up, so raise of hands. Anybody that does Aries stuff? Anyone part of Aries? No. I should have found an Aries expert. Okay, I can just say this. I know for sure Virginia has the setup to help in any kind of situation for Aries, and basically anyone that has a handheld could help their community in any sort of way. Let's go to my POTA girls. Who all does POTA here? Most? Okay, I got 2 for sure. And Abby Kimi, I can't see your face. I'm sorry. I had chat pulled up. So, all right, Shannon, So this question first is for you. What is your best POTA ever and what's your worst?
Oh my gosh. Probably, I would say my worst POTA ever. And this is maybe going to sound mean, but I had to like stop the activation. Miles was like maybe around 5 years old. I went to a POTA park that had a playground. He found like a little girl that he was just in love with, and he wanted to go to like the next playground over with her. So I had to be like, no, you cannot follow this random family. I had to like shut down the station. And it was a failed activation because I maybe made 2 contacts before he decided he was done. So that was probably my worst. My best, I don't know. It would probably have to not even have to do with the contacts, but has more to do with the people. This fall, Support Your Parks weekend, I met at the park with a bunch of people from One Land. We call ourselves the Adventures in Wonderland.
Oh, that's cute.
Discord crew. I can't take credit for that name. That was KC1ULS. But we met in the park. We had like pizza. Max and James, they went and picked up like a hex beam from somewhere. They met us up after. There was probably like 6 to 8 of us just kind of hanging around, operating the radio. Miles is like running around creating a collage with pine cones and sticks. So it was a good time.
Fantastic. Ruth, what about you? Best and worst?
Yeah, I think I'll start off sad. I think the worst was one time I was just rushing and just straight up forgot to charge my radio, my batteries. So I just ran out and couldn't finish it. The best though was definitely this past fall. We did a club activation with the Penn State Amateur Radio Club, and it was the first time we were testing out a whole bunch of our portable equipment that we'd gotten for the club through the school funds. So we got to activate Black with Shannon and get some new folks on the air. And I got to dust off the pilot skills and have some fun. So that was probably the best one was this past year.
My worst was a soda. Anyhow, I tried so hard and I activated myself and I couldn't even make 5 contacts. And I thought being 10,000 feet up, it would be no problem, but I failed miserably. So it's not really a POTA, but close enough. Who else has POTA experiences? Abby, Kimi? Yeah.
I do a little bit. When I went
think you're
to
muted.
the Yoda. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
No? Can you hear me?
There.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great. When I went to the Yoda camp so I have been to 2 in Canada. I was able to do POTA, and that was really fun. I'm blanking on what it was called, but that was definitely a great experience.
Fantastic. Okay, next question. Most memorable contact. Shannon, go.
I would have to say probably something that the ladies here reminded me of. On Sunday, I made my first ever contact with a station that was aeronautical mobile.
Nice.
They came back to my CQ call. They said they were aeronautical mobile. It was on 17 meters. I should have asked them where they were. Like, I don't know if the pilots know what grid square they're over, like how I would be able to judge, the distance on that contact, but that was really cool.
Only if they were on like maybe ADSB or something. Virginia, what about you? You have a lot of contacts.
I've had a lot of interesting contacts. I've talked to people like Bob Heil and Last Man Standing set, but I think probably the most memorable one, it stands out to me, is, okay, so I have to do a little backstory. When I first started in ham radio, I basically taught myself Morse code. I was determined to get my, that was back when they did the Tech Plus license. And so I got my Tech Plus, and I was determined for my first contact to be in Morse code. And I had a very makeshift station that I put up with a piece of wire sticking out the window for an antenna. And my very first contact was on the slow code set part of 40 meters, which is like 7.110 to 7.115. And I heard this guy calling CQ, and I answered him, and he was in Pensacola, Florida, and his call sign was N4ZMP. And I was real excited. I told him he was my first contact ever. And then I sent him a QSL card, and he sent me a QSL card. And then a lot of years went by. I moved around a lot. I did a lot of things besides radio. I wasn't even on the air for years. And then about 15 years ago, when I moved into the house where I live now, I finally got my station put back up, and I was getting back into things, and I was getting into Morse code again. And I was, listening to code, just trying to get my skills back. And one night I was my station was in my room at the time, and I was laying in bed one night, and I was listening to code on 40 meters. And I heard this guy calling real slow, and I listened, and I had all these cards on my wall. They were, I still had I put up my station, and I had all my old QSL cards on the wall, and I was listening to this station, and I started copying, I wasn't copying, like writing it down. I was just listening, and I heard N4ZMP, and I was like, it's that guy. It's the guy I had my very first CW contact with. And I jumped up, and I could barely copy, and I could hardly send. I had just kind of gotten back up and running, and I managed to have a QSO with him. And I told him, I said, you were the first contact I ever made when I first got my license. And that was that had been, 12 or 14 years before that. And I got another QSL card from him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it.
Ruth, what about you?
Honestly, it's probably my first contacts on HF. I mean, like I said, I got into ham radio because I wanted to do Morse code. So my ham radio mentors all came over to my house and helped me set up a radio station. And then that weekend, they got on, and we all worked each other on 40 meters. So my first HF contacts were Morse code. So those were probably the most special.
That is special. Violetta, what about you?
I think my favorite contact, this was when I was in the North Cooks. I think it was on 10 meters. I talked to both my dad and my mom, actually, and they're sitting in the backwoods of Kentucky. I did the math. It was like 6,000 or 7,000 miles away. So that was really cool.
Just random. And you did that over field day too. I ran into Violetta. That's the first time we met. And she's like, I just worked with my dad. So you have a huge family, right?
Yeah, I guess it depends what you consider huge. There's 7 of us kids. All of us are licensed, so there's 9 hams in my family, kind of all at various levels. But yeah.
Random things about Violetta. That's crazy. All right. Well, who else? Who do I got left? Harini and Rushira. Most memorable contacts, any?
For me, it would probably be when I first got my radio, and I was just tinkering around with it. And I actually ended up coincidentally contacting someone I know he works with IEEE. His name is Fran. While he was on his morning run. So that was really funny.
Oh, it's such a small world. That's awesome. Harini, anything?
I don't remember, actually.
That's okay.
On the air, so I don't remember.
That's okay. Abby, Kimi, how about you?
For me, I would say my first HF contact as well. It was actually at a YOTA camp. So YOTA camp has been amazing. It was Joe, I believe it's K0NEB.
No.
And then another contact, it was the Eris one at YOTA camp as well, with Stephen Bowen. And that was really neat.
That would have to be an amazing contact, talking to the International Space Station. Just put that on your resume for life. I talked to the International Space Station. What did you do? That's just me. But okay, my most memorable contacts, there's so many, but I would say whenever somebody says, do you mind saying hello to my grandchild that's in the ham shack with me? Those are amazing to me when they're like, hi. And they get so mic shy and they don't know what to say. And you kind of have to coax them along, like, what's your name? How old are you? And you can hear grandpa in the background kind of coaching them and they say the 7-3, those are my most memorable. And I always try to write them down and send them a QSL card to the grandpa or whoever so that the little kid can get them. Those are my most memorable. All right, let's move on here. Oh, okay. So our call signs, I have my personal phonetics that I've come up with on my call sign. So I use Kilo 1 Dumb Denver Nuggets. So I'm just I know. So anyone else come up with weird phonetics for their call signs? Oh, Shannon, go ahead.
So I don't use it on the air. Someone else actually came up with it for me, but it's KC1 only handy talkies. But I don't only use handy talkies, so it doesn't really make sense. But, I thought that was kind of cute alternate phonetics.
I like that. Virginia, did you come up with any for yourself?
I have no crazy phonetics. I'm just November Victor 5 Foxtrot. I've never have found anything cooler, I guess.
No? Okay. Well, chat room, help her out. Ruth, what about you?
I really haven't come up with fun ones. I mean, I'll do city names, if that comes up, but nothing particularly exciting. Sorry.
Okay. Violetta, anything?
I think the best one that I've come up with is karaoke night 2 pints.
There you go. That's a good one. Harini or Rushira, do you come up with funny phonetics for your calls?
Well, mine is KE2DJF, so kinetic energy to DJ Fredrickson, which is my last name.
Very good.
Yeah, I don't really have any.
No? Okay, everyone will have to help her out. Abby Kimi, anything?
I'll probably have to take some suggestions as well. I've thought about it, but mine's Kilo 7 Charlie Foxtrot Juliet. So it's a little more on the difficult side, in my opinion.
A little bit longer for people to come up with something. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Raise, how many of you actually like to talk about weather on the air when you're making your QSOs? Everyone talks weather. Yeah. Is it just something you deal with, or do you actually enjoy it? Shannon, what do you think?
No, I have a weather station at my house.
Okay.
So I actually really like the weather. And I got it partially because I wanted to join Weather Nets in the area. So it's actually funny when you asked about if anyone's ever done Aries. I'm actually signed up for my local Aries. I've just never done anything with them. And sometimes they do activate, like when we just had the blizzard, a month ago or so. But yeah, I love to talk about the weather, and that's another one that I compare the historic average temperatures to like the current average temperatures, which I think we just beat the record on Tuesday, actually.
We have too. We have had so many high temperatures here. See, already just went right into
it
weather.
it was like 70 something degrees here yesterday, which the old record was set in 1977. It was like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're waiting to see if we beat that.
So this brings me to another kind of like just talking about this. This is an icebreaker to help people get over mic shyness, right? So what do you talk about? A lot of ladies, youth too, they don't know what to talk about when they first get their radio and get their call sign, and they get mic shy. So I think that weather is a really good icebreaker. And I see a lot of heads nodding like, yeah, definitely. And then I see my pilots, so I realize that they have to talk weather all the time. So it's always on the top of your head is following weather patterns, everything, right, Violetta? This just kind of goes with the flow there. Okay, let's talk a big one here. What's been one of your biggest hurdles in the hobby? And I'm going to go reverse this time. I'm going to go to Abby Kimi first.
I would say the first one is space. I just recently moved again. So I've moved a couple times in the past year and a half in DC. So there are portable options, but also I would say the cost when you want to do very complicated projects. I really loved kit building when I was at Yoda camp and want to do that, but there's a lot of pieces to it. But yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay. And Harini and Rushira, how about you? What's your biggest hurdle you faced in the hobby?
For me, it's not really related to like the technical parts of ham radio, but I guess like, I mean, I'm 14, so there's not that many kids like on the air who are really like my age or understand like a lot of the things I talk about.
Yeah, so it's hard to find relatable topics and things like that. So that's understandable. Harini, anything for you?
No, not really. I think just trying to find people, trying to find students who are interested and keeping them interested has been a challenge.
Well, when you find the secret sauce for that, you let us all know, because I think that I have a lot of ladies on here that work with youth, and we can all agree that it's hard to keep them in the hobby once they get involved. And I don't know if it's just, I think schooling and life changes as they move up in those small few years. It's hard to keep them involved because they move so fast and change. I think I see Ruth shaking her head like a lot. Violetta, your biggest hurdle.
I think the biggest thing is just time, right? And people say you make time for what you love, but there's so many things in my life that I really enjoy doing. And so finding time, there's so many things that I would love to do if I had a couple extra hours in the day. But I mean, at the end of the day, I really haven't faced that much. I would say another thing for young people is also just the cost of setting up a station. But I'm very thankful there's a lot of resources for us now, like free youth remote programs, and there's other ways around it. So yeah, I think it's great.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell everybody my biggest hurdle, brains. So I come into this hobby being intimidated or overwhelmed about how smart some people are in this hobby, coming from an electrical engineer background, broadcasting engineer background, and they know so much. And I feel like such a dummy sometimes. And I'm just trying to keep up. And I remember when I first got in this hobby, it was hard to even remember what antenna, because I was just an appliance operator, right? My husband set everything up. So it was hard for me to keep straight what antenna and what the rig was and things like that. Now, obviously, I've picked that stuff up, but that's been my own personal hurdle. Virginia, what about you?
Well, I would say that mine has been, over the years, has been the fact that I have a visual impairment, and that comes in to play on various fronts. And one of them is kit building and all the little things you have to look at and see and pay attention to. And it's kind of a big labor of love just to do that sort of thing. But the main area where that has come into play is that I don't drive, and I have to get to things, and there's so many neat things going on in amateur radio, and there's so many times when I've had to miss something or not go to something that I really wanted to go to, that if I could drive, I would just get in my car and go. Like if I wanted to go up to Dayton Hamvention, or if I wanted to go to Huntsville, or if I wanted to just go over to a ham fest that I don't have any friends attending, or if I want to go to an event up at the USS Batfish Submarine Museum up in Oklahoma or whatever. And there's so many, or even just go across town to a kit build at the Dallas ARC. And I have struggled because there's been so many times when I couldn't just get to something I really wanted to do. I tell people if I could drive, I'd probably never be home. But at the same time, I have met so many amazing people in ham radio, and there's so many generous people that when they can, they do make sure I get to where I need to be. I have a friend who I live in Fort Worth, and I have a friend in the Dallas Amateur Radio Club who lives in Irving, and that's about halfway between Fort Worth and Dallas. There's Irving, and he will drive from Irving to my house, pick me up, drive me all the way to Dallas for a club meeting or a club event, and then he will drive me all the way back to my house. And go back to Irving, to go home. And in that process, he's driven by his house like twice, and he'll do that because he's just a wonderful, generous person. And there's so many generous people, whether you're visually impaired or not, that will give of their time and their knowledge and equipment, and just hang in there. If you're new, when you've been in the hobby for 20 years, you'll look around and go, where did all this equipment come from? Because they'll give you stuff. There's so many great people, and I've been so blessed despite my big hurdle.
There truly is some amazing folks in the hobby, and I too have received some things that I needed badly, and they weren't using them, so they sent them my way, which I'll never forget. Ruth, I think we're up to you.
Yeah, I think my hardest challenge is also time. I'm doing a very technical ham radio adjacent PhD, and there's only so much brain power and time that I have brain power. So it's been a challenge the last couple of years trying to fit ham radio into when it's not just plug and play. I have to go set it all up and make sure it's the weather's proper, and I'm not somewhere on campus I would get in trouble because I need it for somewhere else or whatnot. So I think the hardest thing has really been time, learning, when I got licensed when I was 16, I was like, I'll stay active the whole time, my whole life. And now mid-20s, I'm like, okay, being patient with myself with how much on-air activity does vary per year, and that's okay. So the time thing, I think, mostly for me.
Yeah, and you have your hands in so many organizations too, so
yes,
spreading yourself.
Everything is paperwork.
Yes. Shannon, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of, echo what a lot of other people said, is just having time. As a widowed mom with a young son, and he's not a licensed ham yet. Everybody asks me, when is he going to get licensed? He's into CW, so hopefully we can get him studying and licensed, and then maybe he'll be able to get on the air when I go on the air, and that'll keep him a little more contained. But he kind of gets a little bored on those long POTA activations, and I don't like to give up at just 10 contacts. So when I go out, I want to go out for a good few hours, especially if the weather's nice. But when he's in school, that's my best time to go out activating. So from 9 o'clock in the morning until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then, like you said, the brains, the technical aspects of ham radio are not my strong suit at all. I love operating. I love meeting people and talking to people. I know enough to kind of get by and be dangerous. But there's just so many very, very smart women and people in this hobby that really understand electrical engineering and RF theory, and I'm just stunned. Can't wrap my head around it.
Same, sister. And a lot of them have been on the show. Rhea for sure into RJ, and Amy and Jerry, who couldn't make it tonight. They had a call with Taiwan. Brilliant women all over us. But we're going to take a break and go to Amateur Radio Newsline, and we're going to hear from another brilliant woman. So, Josh, take it away.
From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2523, this is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Quick thinking by hams in the midst of a power outage in Cuba is being credited with connecting a critically ill child with urgent medical care.
As an outage swept through several communities in the municipality of Rio Cauto in eastern Cuba, disabling electric power and the telephone service, a 6-year-old girl lay feverish and in pain, her 12th hour of suffering. The doctor treating her at the family home in Granma province suspected appendicitis requiring emergency transport. An outage resulting from a power grid failure prevented him from directly contacting an ambulance. The physician turned to a father-son team of amateur radio operators, Jorge Bonilla Menegra and his son Edgar Bonilla Menegra. The hams, however, found that their own radios were also without backup power because of the fuel shortage. That is, until a neighbor let them make use of the battery from his motorcycle. The general call was received by Santiago de Cuba by station CL8YDY, who was able to connect with the emergency system. The station is listed on QRZ.com as being in Santiago de Cuba. The call sign holder is Yonedris Garcia Rodriguez. According to various media reports, surgery was performed at the hospital and was a success. This is Dave Lee, M7TLB.
Is there anyone who would turn down a chance for a contact with Antarctica? A group of students will get their chance this month in Germany.
All eyes will be on the project known as Future Geo, to be presented at Bochum Observatory's Bochum Space Day, to be hosted by AMSAT-DL. The program is taking place on the 28th of March in conjunction with Germany's Space Day and Day of Astronomy. Much anticipation surrounds the proposed geostationary amateur radio payload, which is to succeed the QO100 satellite, providing access for Europe and parts of North America. All ears, however, will be on the scheduled contact to be made between students and the Neumayer 3 research station, GP0GVN, in Antarctica. The observatory's director, Thilo Elsner, DJ5YM, will lead the activity. Youngsters and their families are also being invited to participate in a full day of activities organised by the European Space Education Resource Office of the European Space Agency. SRO Germany was established in Bochum in 2018. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
The 2026 National Hurricane Conference, taking place in Orlando, Florida from March 29th to April 2nd, will again include amateur radio workshops.
Amateur radio workshops at the National Hurricane Conference will include presentations by such leaders from the ham community as Rob Macedo, KD1CY of the VOIP Hurricane Net, Josh Johnston, KE5MHV, ARRL Director of Emergency Management, Julio Rapol, WD4R, Assistant Coordinator at WX4NHC, and Bobby Graves, KB5HAV, Net Manager of the Hurricane Watch Net. Graves gave Newsline a preview of a new program he will be presenting built around the theme Impact. While Category 5 hurricanes may get more attention from the media, some tropical storms may make a greater real-world impact than bigger weather events. For amateur radio operators, one report can make a difference, can make an impact. As Graves said, your reports matter. With Julio Rapol scheduled to step down this year, he may be introducing his successor at WH4NHC during the workshops as well. If you can't attend in person, the forum will be live streamed on the Hurricane WatchNet YouTube channel. This is Randy Sly, W4XJ.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Dave Lee, M7TLB, Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Randy Sly, W4XJ, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the News Desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3, we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
Space weather this week is calming down from where we've been over the last couple days. We've actually been dealing with some fast solar wind from this kind of curvy coronal hole right here. This extended finger actually kind of connected us up into that polar coronal hole, which is why we likely had some faster solar wind from this coronal hole than we expected. It actually bumped us up to solar storm conditions for a short bit, despite being so small. And as we continue calming down from it, we've also gotten grazed by a mini solar storm that grazed us off to the east. Aurora photographers at high latitudes, you might have noticed a little bit of brightening in the aurora over the last 24 hours. Aurora photographers at mid latitudes, however, likely wasn't much of a show for you because it just wasn't a big enough storm to give us much. However, things are going to be changing in the next couple days. We're going to get another chance for some decent fast winds, so just hang on there. We'll talk about it more in a moment. Now, as we take a look at the bright regions, all these active regions here, we were hoping to get a decent show from them, but they've been pretty quiescent. In fact, they're likely going to rotate off to the far side of the sun without giving us much radio blackouts or much noise at all. So amateur radio operators, what you really need to be paying attention to is region 4387. This region's actually been getting us close to R1 level radio blackouts over the last 24 hours or so. You can see a couple firings, little mini solar storm launches there. We also have this region up here that's kind of firing off some little jets, as you'll watch right here in just a second. Pop, pop, pop right there. This is actually probably the most magnetically complex region of the sun right now in Earth view. And it's mainly because we've got all of these coronal arcades. You can see them kind of slinking around the sun, kind of in this V shape. Believe it or not, this is the coronal streamer belt of the sun, and it's highly tilted right now. You can even see some filaments kind of snaking around, kind of similar to where the magnetic neutral line on the sun is right now. But it's very typical to get these shapes like this because the sun rotates faster in the middle than it does at the poles, so it has a tendency to stretch everything out this way. So expect to see that again. And in fact, as we continue taking a look, we can actually see a coronal hole that's going through the same process. It's being stretched in the middle and kind of pulled out at the sides like that. This is a very common signature that we see, and it's very symmetric with the northern and southern hemispheres. But we, believe it or not, this particular coronal hole, we've seen it before. This is our sun for this rotation. You can see that coronal hole as it's rotating into Earth view, and this is what the sun looked like about a month ago. Look, it's the same coronal hole. And so what's nice about that is when we get these recurring coronal holes, we can use last month as a help predict when we're going to see the fast solar wind and how strong the fast solar wind is going to be. Well, last month, believe it or not, that fast solar wind bumped us up to storm levels, even though it's the wrong polarity for this time of year. So aurora photographers, we might get a decent chance again for some aurora show, even down to mid-latitudes. Wait for the coronal hole to look about like this. Once it gets into the position right about here, that's when we saw the fast solar wind last time, and it did bump us up almost to major storm levels. So it could give us a decent show despite the fact that it's the wrong polarity. So don't ignore this one because it looks like it could be a lot of fun over the next few days. So I'm expecting that right about the 14th. And so that should keep us going for the 14th and the 15th before things calm down. And then, well, sadly, it looks like we don't have a lot of active regions rotating into Earth view over the next few days, maybe even the next week. So after this, the space weather should really begin to quiet down for a while. And now switching to our full sun map, we are in a unique situation when it comes to regions on the far side this time. But first, let me get you oriented with this one. We are dealing with SDO-AIA imagery. That's in red here. That shows the front side. And the golds is the JSOC HMI helioseismology far-sided viewer. It's a little bit awkward this time because this is the west limb on this side. This is the east limb here. And I'm standing in the middle of the far side. Now, as I put this in motion, you'll kind of get oriented here. We do have a couple regions that are going to be rotating into Earth view or have been rotating into Earth view, including region 4374. That has become region 4387. As you can see, this is the one that we're actually watching because it might actually give us a little bit of R1 level radio blackouts, little M flares here. But believe it or not, as we keep moving here, you're noticing as all the dark regions kind of get lighter and lighter and lighter. In fact, if we look at JSOC HMI helioseismology, like their little log of all the different regions that they're watching, they say there's not watching any regions at all. So from their perspective, it's basically a spotless sun on the far side right now. So what that means is as these regions move back into Earth view, we're probably going to be seeing plages, probably not going to see much in the way of sunspots, at least for the next maybe 5 to 7 days, and possibly longer unless new regions emerge. It doesn't look like there's going to be a lot going on. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, expect once we get through region 4387, things could get quieter and quieter and quieter. And maybe in the next 2 weeks, who knows, we may return to a spotless sun. So the space weather this week is calming down from the fast solar wind we've had over the last couple days, but we're going to get some more fast solar wind. Aurora photographers at high latitudes, you could definitely get a show starting around the weekend. Aurora photographers at mid latitudes, you also could get some decent shows, especially around Sunday. So be sure to keep your batteries charged. Now, amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, region 4387 is the one to watch. We are getting something close to R1 level radio blackouts and that may continue over the next couple days, but it's not going to last all that long, and you might start noticing the noise on the dayside radio bands continuing to drop, and within the next week or two, we could see a spotless sun, so enjoy the quiet. And now you GPS users, well, you know the dayside bands aren't so bad, and the night side, as long as you stay away from Aurora, as well as away from the dawn dust terminators, well, your GPS reception should look pretty top-notch. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
This is where I turn into Don Wilbanks and say, be sure to follow Tamitha on X and Patreon. She's amazing. She's brilliant. She's beautiful. She's the smartest woman in the room, in any room she walks into. Anyhow, yeah, thanks, Dr. T, for that report and update. Appreciate that. Okay, ladies, we're just going to go a couple more rounds here on talking. This is a never really answered question, but I love everyone's opinion on it. How do you encourage other women to get into the hobby and to stay in the hobby, or try to find a fun way to be in the hobby? That's kind of open-ended there, but let's go from the bottom here again. Abby, Kimi, what do you tell gals?
I usually just share all the great experiences and the great community, all that you can learn as well, and any chance I get, honestly.
Yeah, great. Harini and Rushira.
Okay, so I think just by setting an example, like I get a lot of girls to join. They think if I'm having fun, then they'll have fun too.
Very good. What about you, Rushira?
Yeah, I guess just telling people about how many other great people you get to meet through this.
So she started a club at school?
Oh yeah. I'm actually starting a club at school for ham radio. So I'm hoping we'll be able to get some people, especially girls, licensed and on the air.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. And you have a better outlook because you're just all about youth as well. So it's great to get both in the hobby. Who am I going to next? Violetta.
Yeah, I think, there's so many different things that you can do within ham radio. Just talk to them and figure out what their interests are outside of it. And there's always usually some way they can connect it. And even if you if what they're interested in isn't necessarily what you're interested in, I'm sure someone you can, point them to, someone else who can kind of help them get involved with that. But that's one of the cool things about ham radio. Everyone does not have to do the same thing. And there's so many different ways to kind of get involved and stay involved.
That's why we have 619 episodes. That's how many subject matters there is in this hobby. So, Virginia, what about you?
Well, my main place where I run into people that are interested is when I'm already at some kind of a radio event, and they're often ladies who are just new to the hobby or investigating it, and they're usually encouraged, to see someone else who is a lady. And I'm a teacher, as in addition to being an artist. My main livelihood is I'm a music teacher. So I like to teach, and I often end up just teaching in a way that makes sense, that isn't just like, a lot of times a lady will ask a question at a club meeting, and all the really smart engineering guys will answer the question with a lot of other jargon that just leads to more questions. So I try to explain things in a way where they just make sense. And I've been fortunate enough to help a few people kind of really get past being like, oh, I'm new and I don't understand anything, to, oh, this isn't as scary or hard as I thought it was. Whether it's Morse code or how repeaters work or how to get on HF. I like to teach, and I like to explain, and I like to help people, learn to solder or whatever. So that's the main thing I try to do, is just help things make sense and help them not be so overwhelming.
Fantastic. We need more of that. Nice, easy explanations. Tell me like I'm 10. Ruth, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of have a two-pronged approach. If it's someone that I know, I really invite them to just come operate with me. I get excited about it, and then they get excited about it, and then it kind of leads into talking about, if you're not per se into HF, hey, let's do a satellite pass. We could talk about astronaut, or that kind of thing. I'm also really enjoying trying to connect ham radio with my career in acoustics. So like, if I meet a female in that space, I try to bring up ham radio and see if they might be interested in it that way. So yeah, both hands on and just kind of trying to connect with something else that someone else is already interested in.
Sure, sure. And Shannon, you've connected with so many women, and you organized the whole International Women's POTA Day. So you're already doing the job. You're connecting, but what would be your advice?
Yeah, I always feel like, whatever we're doing, we can probably always be doing a little bit more. Yes. So, I started the International Women's Day Wild POTA Party. We had kind of talked the last time I was on the show about, getting involved with the YLRL, the Young Ladies Radio League. So I don't know how many of you guys here are members of that, but definitely, I think becoming more involved with that, because that club is really what we make of it. And that's really any club, right? Any club is what the members make of it. So, if we want that club to grow and change with the times and become more active in things like POTA, then, we need to kind of facilitate those things. And also, to what I believe it was Ria was saying about like starting a club in school. So, hopefully, maybe like a teacher at your school that might be sponsoring that club could like go to the Teachers Institute at the ARRL and maybe get your club some help and some grants to get some equipment. And like also getting involved with like Girl Scout troops or scouting troops to kind of, introduce kids at a younger age, I think, because the hobby's, something that can really grow with them, right? And even if maybe they don't decide to get licensed right away when they're younger, it might be something that they look back on and they're like, oh, hey, I tried that a while ago, maybe I might want to explore that more. And also getting out there and being more visible in POTA. Actually, on Sunday, I had this woman come by and she was like, are you listening to birds? And I was like, no, I'm, doing ham radio. And she was like, what's that? So I just kind of, explained real quick, what it was and who I was talking to. And, as soon as I mentioned International Women's Day, she was like, yeah, Women's Day. Awesome. Gave me a fist bump. So, and, we talked about that too, that like, this Women's Day thing, I've heard like people are using it to have sales, right? Like they're having Women's Day sales now. So it's becoming so much more prominent, and like March being, I guess, Women's History Month, also, which I hadn't heard
Yes.
before this year. So I think we're in a space right now, especially where we can definitely become more visible. And the more we become visible, then I think the more women are going to become more comfortable with showing their nerdy side and coming out on the air.
Absolutely, I agree. Josh, I did put a link in the chat. Thank you, Shannon, for bringing up YLRL. I wanted to just bring up real quick, like they have their scholarship window is open right now. So if you know any lady youth, they accept their application between February 1st and April 30th. So be sure to check that out. If you know a young girl, Rushera, you're one of them, you can apply for a scholarship. And speaking of youth and women youth, Dawn is in the chat. Dawn, tell us when Ham of the Year award, Young Ham of the Year award is up for the applications. I believe start maybe March 31st. And does anyone else know any opportunities for our young women to look forward to? Anything we should be pulling up? Anyone? I know that's like really on the spot. I just want to make sure everyone has all the information. Okay, so who else going to Hamvention? Are most of you going? Shannon's going. Violetta's going.
I wish I were going. I haven't been in a long time. I wish I were going.
I'm not a traveler myself, so big crowds are not my thing, but I would love to go one of these days. But I do enjoy when Josh does his forum. So ladies going, enjoy it. we're out of time. So anyone else want our viewers to know anything before we wrap it up? No? Okay.
Yes, we do. This weekend?
Oh, I just wanted to say that so we're actually volunteering at the IEEE's STEM Education Conference this Saturday, so Pi Day. So we're going to be doing an exhibit on ham radio and the camp we were talking about earlier.
And encourage young students to
get licensed.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm glad. I hope you guys have a great time there. I'm sure you'll be wildly popular.
So it'll be posted at Princeton University if anybody wants to attend.
Oh, great. If you want to find that link and put it in chat, we'll make sure that our viewers see it, so you can join in. And Don Wilbanks is saying Young Ham of the Year Award is going on now. So it started March 1st. So get your applications in. I know some amazing youth under the age of 21, I think, is eligible for that. So check out arnewsline.org and look for Young Ham of the Year. Are any of my Young Ham of the Year award winners on? No? I think no. We had Grace, I think, was a winner one year. And she, of course, Grace is traveling all over the world. I think I just saw her at Papa Julie at 2 Tango this last weekend. Oh, thank you, Josh, for pulling that up. Appreciate it. Okay, ladies, we're going to wrap it up tonight. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. It's been an amazing evening. I'm blown away. I would say that our future is in good hands here in amateur radio, and especially with all the brilliant women in it. So everyone have a good night. We have some nets going on. If they haven't already closed up, look for the 40-meter net on 7192. And on D-Star, you can jump on the nets on 14 Charlie. So, Joshua, do you have any announcements you need to make before we close it up?
Nothing. That's
okay,
all
well,
you.
Thank you for being here in the background and making this all work, and your handiwork there. We appreciate it. 73, everybody in the chat room. And we'll see you in 2 weeks, March 25th.
7-3.